Hello and welcome to chapter 10. Today we're going to be talking about comparing fractions. This is lesson 8. All right, and we're going to be comparing fractions that have common denominators today. So let's get started. Ajay has 3/6 of his homework done. Yuki finished 4/6 of hers. Who has finished a greater part of their homework? So if we look at these fraction tiles here, we can see that all of our 1/6 take up the same amount of space. And so we can really just compare the numerators. I have Ajay has 3/1/6 and Yuki has 4/1/6 tiles. So who did more? 4, right? Because she had one more tile. So 4/6 is greater than 3/6. Let's see, using a number line, represent each fraction on a number line. So if I put 3/6 here and 4/6 here, we can see that 4/6 is actually the bigger number, 2. Okay, so 4/6 is closer to 1 whole. So 4/6 is greater than 3/6. So Yuki finished a greater part of her homework. All right, let's move on. Camille and Peter were reading a book. Camille read 1/4 of the book, while Peter read 1/3 of the same book. All right, these ones have different denominators, so let's take a peek here. Who read a greater part of the book? So we're comparing 1/4 and 1/3. The larger denominator of 4 means more but smaller parts, right? So I don't know. I always like thinking of pizzas. I guess maybe I eat too many pizzas. But if I have a pizza and I cut my pizza into 4 equal parts versus if I cut my pizza into 3 equal parts, which one has a bigger piece if I'm eating one? If I eat one piece of this pizza versus one piece of this pizza, I ate more if I ate 1/3 of the pizza than if I ate 1/4. Do you see how that works? So, and this works when our numerators are the same number. Then we can kind of look at that denominator and remind ourselves that the bigger the denominator, the smaller the pieces that we're actually eating or that we're actually looking at. We can see that with our fraction tiles too. If we were in school, I'd be having you get these out, right? But we're not, so we kind of have to make do. Next year, we can get them out. Here's 1/4, and notice I have between 0 and 1, I'm cutting it into 4 equal pieces. And here's 1/3, so between 0 and 1, I'm cutting it into 3 pieces. So these are bigger, right? The smaller the denominator means fewer but larger pieces. 1/3 is closer to 1 whole, so 1/3 is greater than 1/4. Or we could say 1/3 is greater than 1/4 if we write it like that. Remember, we write it so that the alligator can eat the bigger pieces. Hum, num, num. So that means that Peter read a greater part of the book because he read 1/3 of the book. Use the model to compare. Okay, these ones are common denominators, so I have 1/3 versus 2/3. Well, this one I have 2 of the pieces instead of just 1, so I know that one's going to be bigger. Use the models to compare. Here I have 1/3 and 1/2. So notice again, both the numerators are 1. If we look at the denominators, this one's cut into 3 to more but smaller pieces. This one's cut into fewer but bigger pieces. So 1/2 is bigger than 1/3. Oh, yep, sorry. This is in the homework pages. So you can switch to that page if you'd like. And follow along with me. So here we're comparing 2 fractions that have the same denominator. So here I have 5 of those 1/6 fractions, and here I have 4 of the 1/6 fractions. So 5/6 is greater than 4/6. Just because I have one more of them, see? Use the models to compare. Use greater than, less than, or equal. So here I have 7/8 up here. Here I have 3/8 down here. So obviously 7 is bigger than 3, and they have the same denominator. That's the big thing, guys. Same denominator means the same size of piece. Okay, so 7/8 is going to be larger. Here, this is an interesting one, you guys. This is interesting. Here I have 2 1/3 pieces. And here I have 4 1/6 pieces. Okay, so if I notice, 2 1/6 pieces fits into a 1/3 piece. Same right here, fits in there. Do you want to know why that is? So let's say we have a pizza. Here I am talking about pizza again. Hopefully you're not getting hungry. And I cut it into 3 equal pieces. Okay, and I'm going to eat 2 of them. I'm going to eat this piece, and I'm going to eat this piece. Pretend these are really equal pieces. Okay, I know I'm always a little off. And then my friend said, or I decide, these are kind of big. I want to cut them a little bit smaller. I take my 2 pieces, and I cut each one in, well, I'll cut all the pieces in the pizza in half. Now, how many slices do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, the blue represents 2/3. This will be 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. And now, the green part represents 1, 2, 3, 4/6. So that means that 2/3 is equivalent or equal to 4/6. And you can look here on these that they take up the same amount of space. Okay, we've got a couple more problems here. Justify conclusions. Harvey practiced the piano for 5/8 of an hour. Annika practiced the piano for 5/6 of an hour. Use the models to determine who practiced the piano for a longer period of time. So if we use this, we can obviously see the 6s are bigger, so we know that Annika will say 5/6 is greater than 5/8. So Annika practiced more, Annika, practiced more. And we can use that same principle that we were using before with when the numerators are the same. So here I have 5/8 versus 5/6. So what has the bigger pieces? Remember, the smaller the number, the bigger the piece. So they're both 8/5 pieces, but these pieces take up more space, right? Because they're bigger. And so therefore this one is going to be the bigger fraction. The average house cat sleeps about 2/3 of the day. Most people sleep about 1/3 of the day. Do house cats or people sleep for a greater fraction of the day? So here I'm comparing 2/3 versus 1/3. It tells us to graph both fractions on the number line to compare. Write an inequality to represent your answer. So I'm looking at 2/3 versus 1/3. Common denominators, so I know that the 2 is bigger, so I'm going to eat that one. Okay, write an inequality. Here's an inequality right here. Minus this little arrow friend. Sorry, let me get rid of that. This is an inequality. It shows that they are not equal to each other and that 2/3 is greater than 1/3. Okay. Oh, we better answer the question. Do house cats or people? House cats sleep longer. House cats is one word. House cats sleep longer. I graphed my fractions and wrote my inequality. Done. Test practice. The number on the line shows which of the following fractions is less than 2/4. Here's 2/4. So less than, we've got 1/4 or 0. Looks like 1/4 is going to be our answer. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Make sure you ask me if you have any questions.